to the Second City Radio Late Show, beaming all across the world right now, Vicki Michelle. Hello.
Hello, Chris.
Hello. How are you, Vicki?
I'm fine. I agree with you about the Eurovision. They don't like us.
They just didn't Engelbert Humperdinck or somebody do one for us one year?
I think he did, yeah. I was doing that on my radio show, looking at all the people that had done it before. I mean, there's been some amazing people, but I mean, in recent years, they just don't like us, I think.
Well, I can't go into the political angle, but what I will say is the last time that we won Eurovision was Katrina and the Waves, Love Shine a Light, and that was just before Tony Blair took over. We haven't won a thing since, nothing.
That's it, he's done it then, really.
Well, listen, let's not talk about Eurovision, because you are an absolute god on this planet, Vicki Michelle. So listen,
I'm loving you, Chris.
I'm very surprised first to have you on the show, and quite delighted. I've got to say, I'm very delighted to have you here. Listen, the first question I've always wanted to ask you this. When you grew up and you decided to get into the acting world, you know, you wanted to do that, was it something that you was born with, or is it something you decided to do later on in life? How did you come about getting into the acting bug?
How did I get into the acting?
Yeah.
I think, I wanted to be a ballet dancer. And I did ballet from when I was little, and then did lots of pantos and things like that. But my mum was an actress. And she went to Lambda, and she was in a film called The Glass Mountain, and worked with Terry Thomas and people like that. And then she gave it up when she had me. And I've got 3 sisters, and my next sister down, she left school early and went to Ada Foster stage school. And I stayed on at school, taught my O-levels and a secretarial course. And then my dad said, do you want to go to this stage course? And I was, thinking, well, I'd always been good at acting and did stuff at school, but also I liked the dancing, so you did both there. And I sort of fell into the acting side, and we used to go for auditions straight away, and I used to get them, and then I was always good at reading, and then that's where my career went, into the acting profession, and I've been very lucky to maintain it and keep working over the years.
Well, you've kind of I know your most famous role is at Hello Hello. I don't want to touch on that yet. I want to go back a little bit before then. You were in loads of stuff. Now, one thing I have actually watched you in, Alfie Darling.
Oh my God, yes, with Alan. Oh my God.
It's going back to I think 1975, 1976.
Yeah, that was a long time ago.
It looked like you've been teetering on different things before then. Virgin Witch, Softly Task Force. But Alfie Darling, really, I think personally, you might disagree with me, set you on the road then for your future.
Well, yeah, but it was only a small part, really. I think, really, working with people, what set me on the road, really, was working with people like Les Dawson and the 2 Ronnies and Dick Emery. And I think that they working with those greats put me on the comedy side. I mean, before that, I'd done things like the Softly, so I had to play 3 lead roles in that. So that was on the serious side of the acting. But then the comedy side came in. And I kept working, I worked with Dick Emery, and from Dick Emery I did a series with Ken Dodd. And then the 2 Ronnies saw me work with Ken Dodd, so they got me in. And then it sort of snowballed. Then I did a series with Les Dawson, a couple of series with him. And it sort of snowballed on that side, and I sort of went into the comedy direction, which ended up in Hello Hello.
Well, you were only one of very few people, from what bits I've been able to learn over the last hour, that you actually appeared in the 2 Ronnies on 4 occasions, 4 different episodes that spanned literally over 4 years. That must have been great, because you must have been offering something to these guys that very few people could offer. To get 4 episodes with the Legends 2 Ronnies must have been fantastic.
It was such good fun, and they are so brilliant, and just watching them perform, because when you're in the studio and you perform to a live audience, so you rehearse a week and then you have a live audience, usually on the Friday, and you watch the timing, and you're watching how they perform and how they react, and so what you're doing all the time is you're learning. So I learned from the greats. I learned about timing. I learned how they delivered lines. And I think that you don't realise that's happening. But as you work with these wonderful people, you're learning all the time, and it was great to work with them. And I also did I did a commercial with Ronnie Barker for Seconda watches. Which was directed by David Bailey.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah, that was the commercial. You'll get it online. I don't know. They've got everything on YouTube and everything, so that's there somewhere.
Well, YouTube is what we crave for these days, to bring back proper television, as we call it. You know, back in the days of your main sitcom, which we will talk about, because I'm desperate to talk about it.
When you used to laugh at comedy.
Yes, yeah. I mean, you know, if you go back, as you'll probably agree, decades ago, you had great comedy without the bad language, the innuendo, the nudity, the swearing, and it was wholesome. And this is what's happened with family viewing now. There's no family viewing. Because, you know, the comedians of today, with one or two aside, is kind of a lot of innuendo, a lot of swearing. And are you comfortable with that, just asking you that? Are you comfortable being bombarded into sketch shows maybe that include that, or do you try and shy away from that kind of comedy?
I'm not sure. I don't think we haven't got really comedy shows where they swear on television at the moment. But I mean, stand-up comedians do swear. But I think, you know, to me, if you swear, you're desperate for a laugh, because if you swear when you're doing a joke and you swear, people go, ha ha, they laugh, but it's only because they've sworn, not because it's funny. And so I think sometimes comedians say, oh, I'm getting a laugh there, but they're not. It's just that people laugh out of embarrassment. So, you know, if someone says the F word, people go, ha ha, and you hear it straight away. It's not a real laugh, it's just because they've sworn, and I don't think it's necessary. If you're a really good comedian, you don't need to swear.
Well, some of the things,
apart from if it's a joke,
yes,
that you need to use that word a word. You know what I mean?
Of course. I mean, some of the things that I've got on my system here: Queen Kong, the Dick Emery Show, the Goodies that you've been in, the Professionals, where it was a straight role in that, and somebody else who's coming on the show in a few weeks' time, Dennis Waterman. You was in Minder.
Yes, I was in Minder with Dennis, I knew him back in the day when I worked with Dudley Moore in the West End.
Dudley Moore?
He was. I went to see him in a play. A friend of his was in the theatre with me, and he used to regularly drop in. That was a long time ago.
Was Dudley Moore? You know the way I've seen him in Arthur and some of the roles, and he did a lot of stuff with Peter Cook back in the day. Was he a nice guy, Dudley Moore?
Oh, my God, he was gorgeous. He was just the nicest person. And this was one of the first jobs I did for theatre. I went to Cambridge for 2 weeks, and then I was in the West End at the Globe Theatre for a year. So with him and Bill Kerr and Terence Edmonds, who was in... God, what was it called? Wasn't the bit? It was like Softly Softly, but before that. Can't remember what it was called. And lots of girls. There were a lot of us. And so I worked with Dudley for a year, and he was just the nicest, most generous performer, lovely to be with, funny, and you could see why women found him attractive, because he had that vulnerable quality, but was genuinely nice, and so talented.
So did you find him attractive, Vicki? Did you find him attractive?
I did. I think all the women found him attractive. He had that vulnerable little boy quality. And he was nice. He was really nice as well. So, and he made you laugh, and he could play the piano. So, you know.
Well, you're talking about all these people. I didn't have a clue. See, this is what's fantastic. And also, legends of me growing up, of course, the programs that I used to watch on the TV. You've also worked with a duo that have just been back on the TV in Las Vegas, Cannon and Ball.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I worked with them a few times. I mean, I love the boys. They're really good. I've done a few of their shows, and I love them on Last Laugh in Vegas.
Yes.
Well, they're all my mates. All of my mates won that.
So okay, so
Anita Harris, Jess Conrad. You know, it's like Jess was great, but people didn't get him to start with. But because I know him, he's very tongue in cheek, and he sends himself up. And then people sort of really got him. And Kenny Lynch, fantastic singer. Nick Miller, brilliant comedian. There was all just... It was a great show. Did you watch it?
I watched all of it. All of it.
So did I.
But what I do is, see, because I am not a fan of commercial breaks, I hate them. So what I do is, if there's something that's 4 or 5 episodes, I box set them all, and then I have a binge afternoon with popcorn and watch them all. I have to say that would have been. I mean, we're going to talk about what you were doing in Spain a little bit later on, but just going back to briefly on the Las Vegas, is that something you would have liked to have done with Cannonball and gone out to Las Vegas yourself?
To be quite honest, it was great. I think, and I loved the guy. Oh, Bobby Crash was there. He was brilliant. I worked with him. I think, what was the guy's name?
I don't know, but he got beautiful hair.
He was beautiful. Beautiful to look at, and he was the biggest thing in Las Vegas, and I loved him. He was such a great character to have on the show, and I love the fact that they worked up to going on and doing their performances, and it was just, I think hopefully they're going to take that out. I think they might do it here, a show, do a...
Well, that would work quite well, because again, I'm not saying it because you're on the show tonight, but I am a fan of yours, and I'm also a fan of people that people think that they're not around anymore. They're all still working. Take Mick Miller, for example, a fantastic comic. Yeah,
he's a brilliant comic. He's always been one of the best comics, but not so known in the public eye. Known on the circuit, known by people that really love comedy, but not so much television. Which is a shame, because he's really talented.
Well, I want to come towards, because we are heading towards 1982. So you've done all the things that we've spoken about, Vicky, all the things that you've done, and all these wonderful names that you've given us on the show tonight. So then up comes a lower low. So what I'd like to know, if you don't mind sharing it with us across the world tonight, how did that come about? How did you audition, and how did you end up with the name Yvette?
Yvette, that came about, actually, it was just before that. I wasn't working a lot, and I'd been out of work for about 8 months, and I was thinking of giving it up, and getting a proper job. And I'd gone for this job, and I'd actually been offered it, and then all of a sudden I went for this casting for Hello Hello. But before that, how it came about was, my sister and I went for a television series called Come Back, Mrs. Noah.
Okay.
Which I think Jeremy Lloyd and David Croft had written, and it was set in space with Molly Sugden and Ian Lavender, and it was a really good show, but it was up against Kenny Everett on the other side, who I worked with. Yeah. I worked with him as well.
Wow.
and,
wow.
And so they were getting all the viewers. So this was the one time that Croft and Lloyd's comedy hadn't done so well. So they only and David Croft, when he was casting for it, he couldn't make up his mind up between myself or my sister Anne, and he went for Anne, and Anne had a lead role in that series. But within the series, there was a part for a French-made robot.
Okay.
And so Anne said to David, "Why not have Vicki for that?" And he said, "What a great idea!" So I went in to play the French-made robot for one sketch. And of course, when they both did Hello Hello, and it was French, and they went, Vicki, French-made robot." And it was a sort of a send-up of not Dad's Army, Secret Army, and I looked like one of the girls in there. So they got me in to read for it, try out my French accent, and I read for Michelle of the Resistance and Yvette Carte Blanche, or Carte Blanche, and I didn't actually get it. It took the BBC, I think, about 6 months before they decided to go ahead with it.
Really?
Yeah. And then we did the pilot, and then it was quite a long time after that before they did the series, and then the rest was history. It just took off, and people loved it, and it sold to over 80 countries over the world. It's just, you go to Portugal and everyone goes, "Oh my God," and Sweden or Bulgaria, they've played. There was about 90 episodes, and they've played that 25 times. So it's like, it's loved in Bulgaria.
Well, it's still being played now in different parts of the world. It's still being played, like they do with the Carry On films in certain parts of the world. Your Hello Hello is still being played, and as we're talking, we've actually got your theme tune directly underneath as we're talking, which adds a nice little bit of credibility to the conversation. Your part in Hello Hello, of course, it was a major role, and the success of this. Did you expect it to actually fly as much as it did and still does?
Well, when you're doing it, and we were all quite young, when I read the script, because I'd read quite a few scripts for comedy shows for the BBC, but this one, when you read it, you just laughed out loud, and you just thought, this is funny. And I remember us doing the pilot, and we were sitting around as you had the read through, and we were laughing as we were reading it, and we thought, this is really good. But it's the first series it goes out, and people are sort of getting used to it.
Yeah.
But when they repeated it, obviously everyone had gone, have you seen this? And so we got huge viewing figures for the second show.
Yeah.
And then it just took off, and it sold to more countries. I mean, it's one of the biggest selling to foreign countries, I'm sure. Hello Hello is probably one of their biggest, too. Because Jeremy said it was about 80 countries.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just looking while you're talking. There's only one other comedy show that you mirror in what you've just told me about. The first run, of course, it had to be repeated, and then it took off.
Yeah.
And the other sitcom, interesting to know, was Only Fools and Horses.
Oh, I love that.
Their first
they
series.
used to be there. You know, David, Jason, and Nicholas Lyndhurst. They were there. They were rehearsing in this because everyone was in the BBC rehearsal room, so we used to see them. That was such a great show.
Well, their first series didn't do very well. However, due to TV strikes and loads of issues going on with cameramen, they decided to repeat the first series again. Then it took off. Yes,
and that's exactly what happened with Hello Hello. Yeah, and then we did the stage show. You know, it took me to Australia, to New Zealand. You toured all over. They're still buying it now. It's like, you know, you look at, and then South Africa's bought it recently, and
well, we've got to mention the legend that is Gordon Kay.
Oh yes, yes.
So, what was it like working with Gordon, and how much do you miss him still now?
Well, I think that the whole thing was that we all became a family.
Yeah.
You know, so we were working together. When we first did the series, we were only recording it, so we'd only do about 8 weeks' work. I think 8 weeks, say 8 episodes, so that's 8 weeks, and 3 weeks exterior filming. So you were only doing that once a year. They were only making the episodes once a year. But then we did the stage show, and we toured all over England to start with. And so we were sort of together all of the time, so working with each other. It was like being a big family. And I used to watch Gordon perform, and he was just such a talented actor. And all of his little, you know, you watch what he does, his little bits that, you know, he put his elbow on the desk and then fall off, and just all those little bits that he used to put in were genius. And, you know, he was loved by the nation. I think the most unlikely sex symbol.
And how long did you say Hello Hello run for? How long did it run for? How many years?
10 years.
Yeah, I thought it was quite a long time. And then you were brought back in 2007 for the return of Hello Hello. Why did they do that? Could you remember? Because it was like a TV special. Why did they bring it back for this episode?
I think that they kept, because they knew how popular it was.
Yeah.
And Jeremy and David were asked to write another one, so it would have been, you know, and David didn't want to. He was busy doing something else, but Jeremy did, and so he wrote it and just put it forward in time, and he did a great job, and it got the best viewing figures. It got, like, I don't know, 4 or 5 million at the time, whereas back in the day we were getting like 19 million, 20 million. And
21.2 million you were getting.
Oh my god, that is huge. But when we did the repeat, that was huge. 4 million was good at the time on BBC Two. So
yeah, but but now the figures that we get now, a hit on the TV is about the 5 million, because I think there's more TV back then when Hello Hello was on there. There was only 4 channels available, so of course, and the writing hooked people to the programme. It was kind of, you were invited into this world. It was very funny. The way that you kept chasing Renee all the time, and of course, I wanted to be Gordon Kay. I think all men wanted to be, because he was a and I mean, I've got to say, Vicky, you still look as stunning today as you did then. So what's the secret of that then? Are you bathing in oil of Ulay? Because you look stunning. And in fact, I've got Greg, who's emailed me. He's listening in Barcelona right now, and he still has posters of you laminated on his wall.
No. Well, all I can say, he's got very good taste.
I know. I want them. Send them to me. I'll PayPal you. Send them to me. But the thing is, all these things going on with the TV at the moment, and all these things going on, you're always going to be remembered for that role. Are you happy to be remembered for that role mainly, or does it kind of frustrate you a little bit because you've done so many other things?
I've done so many other things. I've done some wonderful roles, played Miss Hannigan and Annie, and done some, some really, really good stuff. But I am very proud to have been in a most successful series.
You are,
and which still makes people laugh. I mean, my mum's not been well, and the other evening, Vicki, she likes not going out, and she loves Lee Mack. And she said, "Oh, there's nothing on, I can't, and she's stuck in." And I went, "Mum, they're repeating Hello, Hello on yesterday, and they're doing it from the beginning." And I said, "Look, I'll come round." So I went round and we sat and watched it. Well, I was in it, and I was laughing. And it was going back to that, because you forget. It just is so funny. It's 1, 2, 3, laugh. 1, 2, 3, laugh. And that's genius writing.
Would you do you kind of watch some of those episodes back on occasion?
Well, if they're on sometimes I do, but I don't sort of sit down and watch myself. Not really, but when I do, I mean, and a lot of the time, because we did so many episodes, you go, "Oh my goodness, I forgot that," and just some of it is hysterical, and I think it's appreciated by people more now, because they actually realise how funny it was. Those writers, Jeremy Lloyd and Croft, were geniuses. I mean, to write like that, to make people actually laugh out loud. You watch a series now, a comedy, and you might smile or you might laugh a couple of times. But to laugh continually, I mean, that's clever. Yeah.
Well, these people, of course, and me, of course, I watched every episode of Hello, Hello. I used to enjoy watching it. And of course, now what we've got now is we're kind of in the world now where people want coverage from back then. Vinyl's making a comeback now. Classic shows are making a comeback. So Dad's Army, very successful. Hello, Hello, just as successful. Only Fools and Horses. These are kind of programs that you could put people down in front of the TV tomorrow and just run them all day, and you just sit there and enjoy them as if they'd just been made last week.
It is true, actually, and I think the fact that a lot of them, I mean, Hello, Hello hasn't dated because it was set in wartime, so it was set in a period, so it doesn't date. And also it's a family show. I think the only family shows you do is like X Factor, The Voice, where families sit down and watch television together now. And, and that's such a shame, because you used to come in from work and watch a comedy series.
Yes,
and
I agree.
The family would watch it.
I agree. I am not a fan, as they know on this station, I am not a fan of things like the X Factor, The Voice. I am just, because I think the people, I mean, in your field, that what you do, you've been a fine actor for all these years. Of course, you've had to do the blood, sweat, tears. You've had to do the trekking across town to get to auditions. Whereas I think these days now, Vicky, it comes too easy.
Yeah, but they don't survive,
Correct.
It's like it's a non-survival, whereas at one time you'd get a really good singer that would survive for years, you get a singer that makes it, and then very few of them go on to have, really solid careers.
Oh, don't get me started on it. Don't get me started on so many names I could bang out now that we kind of, let's play a game of where are they now? And this comes back to you, Vicky Michelle, because you put your name out there, everybody on the planet, young or old, will know who you are. So that's testament to...
Well, I think you could be biased there, Chris, but I'm loving it.
No. I mean, listen, I had about, we had a chat earlier, I had about 55 minutes to get you digitally put across the network, and there was uproar when they knew you were coming on the radio tonight. So I disagree. There are a lot of people, of course, obviously I can't tell you that in person, because that would be ridiculous. But you are a national institution. I just want to mention, and I hope you don't mind me mentioning, that being a national institution, of course, and of course the sad news this week about Dame Barbara Windsor. Can I just ask you your thoughts on that?
I think that I've known Barbara for a long time, Barbara and Scott, and it's really I knew for a little while there was something, but people saying, people that know them really well were saying, there's something not right, but not actually saying what it was. But I swear to you, Barbara she's such a lovely woman, and she's so warm, and she's a great actress. When she was like working with Joan Littlewood back in the day, and then made her name on the Carry On, and then sort of, but she's survived over the years, and and I think the whole of the country love her, and I know that Scott, who has been with her forever, and adores her, must be feeling, it must be harsh for both of them. But I saw her a year ago at the Lady Rattlings. I'm a Lady Rattling. And we had a lunch for Barbara Windsor, because she's a Lady Rattling. Yeah. And she got up, she did a speech, she said how wonderful it was, and you would never, ever, ever have known. She was amazing. And I saw another thing, there was another dude that she was there. And so I think she's handling it, or they're handling it very well. But I think probably the reason that Scott has said something now is, I think when you get it, when you have Alzheimer's, you can get very nervous with things. And because everyone loves Barbara, they all go up, they want to give her a cuddle, they want a photo with her, and it is all consuming. It's a bit like, if David Jason goes out, it's the same thing.
Same as if you go out, Vicky.
Sorry?
Same as if you go out.
Yeah, I do get cuddles. I do. I have got cuddles. People have stopped me in the street, cuddled me, and then run off.
That's not fair. That's not fair. You telling me that I can't cuddle you? Hang on, I'll just pick up the phone line. Hang on a minute. Oh, there we go. That's lovely. But I will say, and we all say this, of course. We do wish Dame Barbara Windsor, a legend, all the best for the future, of course. And if you've got any spare money knocking around, guys and girls, why not donate it to Alzheimer's, of course. It would be absolutely great. Moving forward now, we're coming away from a lower low. Now, there's so many things. I'm going to rattle through a few things, and I'm going to stop at a couple of things. I'm just going to ask you, because I've got a bone to pick with you in a minute. But before we get to that, you've done Emmerdale. You played Patricia Foster. What was that like, being in Emmerdale?
It was great, and I think it was going to go on. And what happened is a new producer went in, and so I was on, for a few episodes, and then when the new producer comes in, they killed off my son. Well, they got rid of him. Beautiful. So I'm thinking, so that was it. That one went. But I really enjoyed it, and I'd worked with Patrick Moore before, and I adore Patrick. He's fabulous. And everyone was so lovely on the set, so I enjoyed doing that. Yeah.
So away from there, this is kind of Vicki Michelle. This is how fabulous she is. So you go from Renee, you then go into Emmerdale, then you get out a chopping board and a knife, and you're in Celebrity MasterChef. How did that come about?
I did, yeah. Gosh, that was harsh. That was really harsh. And I was at the beginning when it's not as harsh as it was now. And I went, oh my goodness, how can these people, why do they cry and everything? And what happened? You get tearful because when you're doing it, they get you up. So you're up at 5 o'clock in the morning. You have to go into a restaurant. You're working your socks off. You've worked in, I think I was at the Criterion. And actually the chef there did say, out of all the people here, who would you use? And he said, Vicki. So I was really pleased about that.
Wow.
And then we went into, and then they take us back into the studio, and we've got to do another cookery, make something else. So it's just heavy pressure all the time. Enjoyable, but it's.
I like the fact that you did it. I just don't like because all of you put your heart and your soul into doing the best you can. For me, I could not stand. I'd have to punch him. I couldn't stand in front of somebody saying, well, I've just spent 3 hours making this to the best of my ability, and now you're just going to rip it all apart. Me, personally, I'd have to punch him in the face. I couldn't deal with it, Vicki. I couldn't.
Yeah. You have to take it. You have to take it. I'm not sure I agree with it, but I had to take it.
So then, from that programme, you've done various. I mean, it looks like you've been able, which is great, to pick and choose what you've done. But then we move forward, and then you was in an episode of Doctors, where you was in an episode called Whip Hand, where you played Penny Lester. Did you enjoy doing that, Doctors?
Sorry?
Did you enjoy doing Doctors?
I did. They were lovely, and the actors were really great. And Maddie Smith was in it,
Wow.
who I'd known back in the day, and she was in that. And yeah, it was great. It was a really good episode. Yeah. So I played a character in that.
Now here's my bone to pick with you now. I've waited for this, and now I'm going to say it live. Vicki Michelle, I'm a celebrity. Get me out of here. You did not. The Vicki Michelle that I've grown up with. You took no prisoners in the jungle. You took no prisoners. Was that really how you are in real life?
What do you mean I took no prisoners?
You didn't stand for any funny business. You were kind of outspoken. You had your say when you needed to have your say.
Oh, yeah, I did. Yeah, I did. Yeah, actually, I bit my lip quite a lot.
Did you?
I actually, oh no, actually, because when you're in there and people are aggravating you, and you know, like I just like to have fun. People were just so serious, and you know, and it was like, you know, I'm starving. I need to eat, and I thought, well, you signed up for this. I said, you pay fortunes for this diet. You know? And I was looked on the bright side of everything. So I mean, I just went, and then just people get so serious about things. Okay, and I did bite my tongue because sometimes if you fall out with someone in there, then you split the camp, and we didn't want to do. I didn't want to do that.
No, because it's
so
it's
you
probably...
have to be a bit diplomatic. So no, I wasn't so outspoken as I could have been.
Well, some questions.
I tell the truth.
Well, some questions around that because, of course, you're the first person that's come on this station that's actually been in the jungle. And there's all these conversations about they pass your food through the bushes and all this when they're not recording. Is that true?
Okay. What is a jungle like? It's worse than you think. They do not pass you food.
Really?
You do not. I mean, you are basically having a spoonful of beans and a tablespoon of rice, and that's what you have, and water, boiled water. So you have to get your own water, and you have to go right down this slope and get these cans up, and then fill up and put them, like, boil the water, and then, so you have to keep the fire going all the time, so you have to get sticks for that, and that's right miles away. And all of these things you have to do every day. And then what they don't show you is, say you're going to do a trial, and you see us walking through the jungle. But what you don't see is that it's like a mile away, so you're already knackered before you get to the trial.
So we see that walk on the TV in about 15 seconds, where in reality it's about 20 minutes.
You've done miles up hill, down dale. And also, you know, when you, like, I got covered in, I don't know.
All sorts.
Yeah, cockroaches and everything like that. and you can only go, there's no hot water. You have to go under in freezing cold water to try and get all of this out of your hair. No one helps you. You just have to go and get rid of it yourself. It's horrendous, but it's camaraderie, and it's like living in a commune, I suppose, and you become part of that. You get very close to the people in there.
So the people that were in the jungle with you, because of course you're all in it together, because that's where else is there to go apart from there? Who do you still keep in touch with, if anybody, from your time in the jungle?
I think we all keep in touch with each other. It's not so much now, but I mean, Carl Fogarty,
yes,
you know, but he's up north, so we talk to each other, and then Jake was in the dancing, and he goes out with Carl's daughter, and Jimmy Bullard, I haven't seen him, but last time we went to his parents' pub in Dartford. And who else was in there? Mel, I see. I haven't seen her, but she's on Twitter.
Yeah.
So, who else was in there with me? Oh, the Irish girl, she was gorgeous. Yeah, I'm going to see her soon. She's coming over. Kendra, she's on my Twitter, so we talk, but she's in America. I've got very close with her. Edwina Curry.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, yes, I went to her. I was in Panto, near where she lived, so I spent New Year's Day evening with her. She had a party at her place. I was with Edwina Curry. And Michael Burke, I adored him, but I haven't seen him. But you always keep in touch, and send each other messages.
Would you, if they kind of, if they were going to do a series again, of course, and bring back some old favourites, maybe a couple from each of the series that have gone on, would you consider going back in there?
I did quite enjoy it in a sadistic, masochistic
Really?
way. Yeah, it's really weird. It's really weird. Yeah. It was just something that I would never, ever, ever, ever do in my life.
Vicki Michelle does not want any Christmas presents, audience. Just send her boxes of cockroaches. You can see she loves it.
Yeah. It was really weird. You sort of got used to it, and you had to do it. It's just, mind you, I mean, I think it's got worse when that poor girl she put that spider in her mouth. No.
Oh.
No.
What about Fatima Whitbread when that thing went up her nose? Right up
there.
Oh,
yeah. No, it's quite dangerous.
Yeah.
People were dehydrating out there. Sometimes the doctor had to come in and give them salts because you're not,
I think the main thing for you, to be honest, A, national treasure, B, you didn't let the jungle get to you. You stayed in there till your time was up. And I think it's worse when somebody invests the time and go all the way out there, only then to walk 2 or 3 days into a programme. And the ones that say that they've never seen it before they sign up.
I know what they've never seen.
I think Gemma Collins is one who walked after a couple of days, couldn't handle it.
Yeah, she did.
But surely, if you're going to sign up for something of such a prime time show where millions of people are going to see it, surely you would have done your homework before you went in.
I know, but Gemma she just couldn't take it, and she just goes, no, I'm not doing it. And actually, she gets away with it. She's like, oh, okay. She does. She gets away with it. Some people get away with stuff, and she just goes, no, not doing it. And then you go, oh, okay. I mean, she did stay for a bit of time, but she didn't like it.
Well,
and she was hungry.
Well, since the jungle, I've got to tell you guys out there, my emails are going ballistic. Thank you so much indeed for your emails, of course, and it just shows how much love there is for Vicki Michelle tonight. You come out of the jungle, and then you've done films like No Reason, A Suburban Fairy Tale, and then I remember this. I was sitting down one of my Saturday evenings not so long ago, watching the fantastic Keith and Paddy. Up comes Ghostbusters, and when I think I've seen you in everything, up you pop again.
Yeah, that was good. Oh, they're such lovely people. I met Paddy before, but I hadn't worked with Keith. And his real name's Lee.
Yeah,
Lee. And
Lee Francis.
Such a nice guy. I had such fun. We didn't stop laughing on that. It was hysterical. And they're just completely off the wall, ad-libbing most of the time. But the creations, you actually believe the characters in a weird, Keith's got the moustache on and he's playing a woman, and you just think, actually, I'm accepting this, And I think they're just very talented and a very funny show. And this is so I was in the first series, this is the second series they've done. And it's brilliant. It's absolutely brilliant. I love watching it.
And I've got to mention as well, because I'm throwing all the accolades on you because you're worth it. I'm looking at the scripts in front of me here while we're talking away. You have done, literally, I'm shocked, you have done so much in the theatre world and pantomime. Now, just briefly, pantomime, why do you put yourself through it? What is it about pantomime?
I love pantomime. I love the magic of it. I love the kids. They get so excited. You actually, you're listening in your dressing room over the tannoy, and you hear them booing, and you hear them giggling, and it's just such a wonderful feeling. And you laugh with them, and they're believing it. They're believing this fairy story that's going on stage. They get involved. They're booing or cheering. I mean, usually I play the baddie, so they're usually booing me. So it's like, shut up, you little brat. Then they boo me even more. And it's great, because when you play the baddie, that's what you're working for.
But how do you kind of, in your mindset, I mean, I know this because, of course, I never really saw a lot of pantomimes. I mean, I've seen Sam Cain, bless him.
Yeah.
in panto, and I've seen the wonderful, and she's wonderful, Linda Lusardi when she does her
she's
pantos.
gorgeous.
She's beautiful, isn't she?
Yeah.
And the one thing, of course, I think which is probably testament to yourselves is the hours, especially when you've got to come from a matinee show to an evening show. You're kind of locked into this bubble for weeks on end. So how do you kind of motivate yourself, because you're doing the same panto over and over again? How do you kind of get your head into that space where you've literally got nowhere to hide for 3-4 weeks of your life?
Yeah, and sometimes it's 3 shows a day.
Yeah, 3. So how do you get your head around that?
2 shows usually every day.
Yeah.
And 3 shows some days. You just do it. You know, and to be quite honest, every show you do is different because you've got a different audience. And there's something about panto. You've got that interaction with the audience as well. And it lifts you, you know, and if they work good because, you know, and they can talk to you, they can shout at you, they can cheer you. And I think that you go on the stage, you do it, and I actually love it. So, and it is hard work, you know, and there is no really. I think I probably only get Christmas Day off, and that's about it. But you do it once a year. But I do enjoy it. It's like celebrating Christmas longer.
So will you be doing it again this year?
Yes, I will. I'm doing it in Castleford near Leeds.
Okay.
And I'm playing Caraboss. So I'm evil this year. I was a fairy last year, so I'm evil this year. Yeah, with Charlie Lawson I was working with last year. He's going back into Corrie.
Yeah, Charlie Lawson. He's going back into Coronation Street.
Yeah, he is. Yeah.
How fabulous is that?
Yeah. So I don't know whether he knew about it when we were working together, but because I said, "You dark arts, did you know about this?" But I think it was sort of you know. They'd asked him before, but he said, if I'm going to go back in, I want to go sort of regularly. And I was chatting to him the other day and on my radio show, and he came on and he was telling me all about it, so I'm looking forward
to we're going to talk about that now, young lady, because, like, you ask anybody who knows me, I'm very protective about Second City Radio. And I don't have people come on here promoting other stations. However, you are that high. You are that high up the cake. Yeah. That I'm going to allow you now to tell me, because what people won't realise now is fine actress, theatre lovey, pantomime queen, and radio presenter. So first of all, what are you doing with a black microphone, which is what I'm talking into now? Do you like it, and what station are you on?
Well, I'm on Phoenix Radio, which is 98 FM, and it's sort of based in Brentwood, Essex area.
Okay.
And I went on, and I was one of my mates were interviewing me, and we were talking about charities and things. And the guy said to me, Paul Gold, who owns it, he said, well, you're really good. You know, you're very chatty and everything. And I said, yeah, I do. I like chatty. He said, would you like to do it yourself? And it's something I'd always thought about.
Yeah.
And I thought, I'd really like to have a go at this because it's something I hadn't done. And so I've been doing it for, a couple of months, few months now. And I'm really enjoying it. And I just chat and just talk about what I want to talk about and then have different themes in my show. And I'm really enjoying it. And so I can understand now why you love it so much, because I was talking to you before the show and you were saying how you absolutely love radio and how hard you've worked.
I do, but it's like because I run this thing, and of course we're very open on this station here. All the presenters that work on this station do it out of the goodness of the heart, including Sam Kane. And they come along and they kind of help me and assist me to kind of bring this station up. Of course, we're moving to medium wave very soon, and starting to become a little bit more. So for me, it's kind of from 7 o'clock in the morning until midnight, 7 nights a week. I'm doing something to do with media all the time. So
then you're it's like doing panto.
Yeah,
really, it's non-stop. You know what you're doing as well. Whereas I'm going in for 2 hours and doing a show for 2 hours.
So I've got people. I've got people like Sam to thank. Mike.
He's gorgeous, Sam, as well, and he's got that great accent.
Well, he's all. I know he's listening. He's all right. I mean, he ain't that handsome. He's all right. He's
lovely. They're such a lovely couple, and he's got a brilliant voice, Sam. Has he sung on his show yet?
Yes, we we play Sam's music on this show. Sometimes I do it deliberately just to annoy him. But yeah, we do. He's got a fantastic voice, and somebody else, of course, who I know you know, Mike Holloway.
Yes.
Of course, has done Joseph and the Amazing Technicolor Dreamcoat along with Tomorrow People, Pauline Quirks. He's actually now a presenter on the station.
Oh, you've got some really good people. It's great. I'll tune. I'm going to tune into you now.
No, don't. It's rubbish. After you've gone, it goes downhill. But I will say to you, this is kind of what we like. I had Robin Asquith on here last week.
I love Robin. Oh my God, I did Queen Kong with him.
Yes, see, you can see my script. I was going to ask you briefly about, because he said to me on the show last week, "Have you seen Queen Kong?" And I said no. I said because he lives in Malta, Robin Asquith.
Yeah, he does on Goa. Yeah.
And he was sitting in a car on a mountaintop talking to me on a mobile phone.
Yeah.
And I said to him, "Is there any films that you'd rather not talk about?" And he said to me, Queen Kong. So, what's he talking about, Vicky?
Well, Queen Kong was it was a film that was a send-up of King Kong.
Right.
And God, I can't remember the name of the producers, but Robin Asquith was in it, Rula Lenska, and a lot of girls. So we had it was like the crew girls. I can't even remember what we were called because it was so long ago. And it was sort of, this giant gorilla. I haven't actually seen it. I have to watch it. But what happened is Dino De Laurentiis, who did King Kong, banned it because he said that it was cashing in on his film.
Right.
So it was never shown. They never shown. And then, I think it was in Japan or China or something, they decided to re-release it. They got permission to re-release it. And so I got a copy recently that I haven't looked at. But I can't wait. I've got my family in there as extras. It was great. We had such fun on it. It was a shame they didn't let it out because I should think it's quite, what would you say? I don't know how you describe it, but it's Asquith being in it. I should think it's really good. I'm going to watch it. I'll let you know. We'll chat again and I'll let you know what it's like.
So I've got to say thank you so much indeed for chatting to me. A couple more things to ask if you don't mind. Vicky's been with me now for 50 minutes, by the way. This is how fantastic it is talking to a legend. Things for the future.
Bless you, we have, yes.
things for the future. What else would you... I mean, you've done so many things. What else is it you would like to do? If I said to you now, I'm going to give you one wish for one thing you want to do, what would it be?
Oh, that's really difficult because I like lots of wishes, so that's unfair.
Hang on, I'll get my lamp out. Hang on, I'll get my...
Yeah. But I would love... out of all the reality shows now, I would really like to do Strictly. I would like to do that.
Wow.
And because I think it's a fantastic show. And I want to see how good I am on that. I've always loved dancing. As I said to you, I wanted to be a dancer in the beginning, but I'd love to do Strictly. I'd like to do a period drama, something that I haven't sort of gotten into, and that would be fabulous. And also just become a huge star in America. What do you think?
I think, to be honest with you, we wouldn't let you go there.
I've never been to America. I've never done America, ever. I've never been there.
Well, they're listening to you now in America.
Got the only face that moves, because I've never had any Botox or any fillers or anything. So I reckon if I go out there, they're going to go, oh, my God, her face moves. And I'll get all the roles.
Well, see, this is the thing. I mean, take it as the hugest compliment. You still look the same. You look the same. It's
bless
kind
you.
of. But,
I don't, but I don't
do.
care. You can lie to me. I like flattery.
No, okay, then if you're disagreeing with me, I mean, we're all going to be critical of our own bodies. To other people, I look like Omar Sharif. Me personally, I look at Omar David. I don't look nothing like him.
I met Omar.
You know everybody. We should just do a show. That's it. That's a new show for next week. Vicky Michelle knows, and we'll put a 4-hour show together.
I've been around too long, that's what it is.
Not at all, not at all. 42's no age.
35 I go.
Okay, you've heard it here. Anybody who says more than 35, you're blocked. Okay, so you can't. So when does your radio show go out? And can people listen to it online? 98
FM, Sundays between 2 and 4.
Oh, that's not too bad, because Sam Kane's on in the morning here. Oh, no, I couldn't possibly listen, because we have Ian Brown. Do you know, apparently...
Oh, I love Ian.
Yeah, Ian.
I saw him.
Yeah. He's one of my presenters as well.
Wednesday, we were watching the play at Stevenage, because I'm patron of the theatre there.
Yeah, well, there you go. Ian Brown's a presenter on this station. He does Backstage on a Sunday afternoon.
Oh, brilliant. Oh, well, I'll have to tune into him as well.
And again, they all do it for me, because they're beautiful people, for free, to help us achieve greatness on this station 10 years in. So I can't argue with that. I'm very, very touched and very warm and loved, and it's beautiful.
They must love you, Chris. I haven't met you yet, but I love you from speaking to you.
No, but you're a wonderful person. What else is... But I'll tell you how wonderful you could be, Vicky.
Yes.
You could follow me on Twitter. That would be a first.
Oh, right, okay.
Follow me on Twitter, because I want to be in your life. Not in a weird way. No. Listen, I'm not a weird person. Trust me. But what I will say to you is the same as I say to everybody that comes through the doors here. You're through the doors now. If you need our help with some promotion, you want to come on the show again in the future. If you'd like to do a show, then I'm the person to speak to.
Well, how fabulous! I might take you up on that one day. And I have got on. Yes, they're doing top of the box on BBC. No,
Channel 5, and it's with the beautiful Matthew Kelly.
I know, I love him. I did
love
panto
him.
with him a
I
few
love
times.
him.
He's so lovely. He's one of my favourites. And I worked on his show back in the day. What was the show he used to do?
Game for a Laugh, Stars in Their Eyes, You Bet.
Game for a Laugh, or was it You Bet? Wasn't Stars in Their Eyes.
It might have been You Bet.
But also I did panto with him, and he's such a brilliant bloke. So I think he'd be great to host it, and that's coming out on the 20th, I think. And that's talking about all the shows that got millions of viewers at certain times. So
I've got to say, just a couple of people that I'm just going to mention before I let you go, because you're going to kill me in a minute. Alex wants to say hello to you. He's in Chesterfield.
Hi, Alex.
Anne-Marie wants to say hello to you as well.
Who does?
Anne-Marie.
Anne-Marie. Hello, Anne-Marie. My sister's named Anne-Marie. My next sister down. Yeah, I've got 3 sisters.
And can you say a big hello to Ruby Logan, who's listening to you now in Wales?
Hello, Ruby.
And Mike Holloway.
Hi, Mike.
He's
have a great radio show.
See, that's the thing about my show. We have a live chat room as well, so people can talk to me live while I'm doing the show. How good is that?
Oh, that's good. That's good.
Well,
do you want me to tell you how I got my catchphrase from LOL?
Yes, it's your show. Do what you like. I'll just go and make a drink.
I'm over now. Is that okay? Because I think when we did the show, there were lots of catchphrases like "Listen very carefully. I shall say this only once. It is I, Leclerc. Good moaning, you stupid woman." And I didn't have a catchphrase, but every week I had OOOH Renee. So I went to David Croft and I said, "David, could I have a catchphrase? Please, can I have a catchphrase?" "No, darling, we've got enough." "Oh, please, can I have a catchphrase?" "No, darling, we've got enough." So what I did is I started to elongate the OOOH Renee. So it started off with "Oh, Renee," and then it went "Oh, Renee," and he let me have that. So then I elongated it, and he used to look at me and know what I was doing, and go. And then eventually, a director came in and said, "Why don't you hide behind the bar, and we just hear this oh, and then you pop up."
Oh, can you not do that again, please?
So it developed into oh.
Can you not do that again?
Renee.
Can you not do that again? You're sending me to hot flushies. I've got another hour and a half to go yet. You can't do that to me.
Well, it became my catchphrase by default.
You sound, I'll tell you, when you talk about these catchphrases and things, you just sound so warm, reminiscing on these things. I'll tell you, Vicky, you're so well loved in this country.
Oh, bless you. Thank you.
You are, though. I mean, we've got people like Jane Stringer in the chat room, Nikki Charlton, Maxine, we've got Chris Ashford, we've got Trevor Fielding, all these people. They will all remember Hello, Hello. They will remember you for... And, of course, what we haven't talked about is you do a lot of charity work as well, on top of everything else.
Yes, I do. And I was, very proud to get an MBE for my work. And I've always done lots of charity work, because I always think that when you're not working, then you should give back and just, if you're around and you can bring attention to that charity and help it in whatever way you can, I think it's important. So I've got a lot of charities.
Well, I've got to say, it's possibly, and I'm not saying this because you're on the line, it's possibly been one of the best hours that we've had, because
it was going to be 20 minutes.
It was, but you know, Vicky, when you're chatting and you're having a good time, it wasn't.
I know, it's been fun.
It wasn't an interview, and I don't like to do it in an interview style. We've just had a bit of a chat. If you would like to follow Vicky on Twitter, at Vicki Michelle, you'll find her there. Of course, don't be weird, because weird heads to block. So if you want to go and follow Vicky, I'm quite sure there is room and capacity for you to go and follow and see what's coming up next. I mean, I haven't got a clue. She's going to climb Mount Everest next. Something's going to happen.
How did you know?
Oh, have I given it away? Oh, God. It's been wonderful having you on my show, Vicky, tonight.
It's lovely. Yeah, lovely chatting to you. It's been really fun. Really fun, Chris. You obviously have a fabulous radio station. You've got fabulous presenters on there. So I shall be tuning in to you from now on. And, of course, following you on Twitter.
Well, if you could stay where you are for me briefly, I just want to say, if you've missed any of this interview, of course, it will be edited down. It will be on the website tomorrow via YouTube. It will be available for you to enjoy without all the other rubbish around it. It'll just be the interview for you to enjoy over and over again. She is a national treasure, and we tip our hat to the wonderful, and I mean wonderful, Vicki Michelle. Vicki, thank you so much.
Thank you, Chris. Thank you so much.
Chris Phillips is live now into the weekend with Flashback Friday on the UK's #1 station, secondcityradio.net, and on the Second City Radio app for Android and iOS.